fast forward to the pandemic and the lockdowns, we shut down, and there was kind of, from what I remember, we were still, at first we weren't allowed to sell cigars for those first few days, but then the governor came out and exempted, I think, like grocery stores, convenience stores, and tobacco operations. So we were able to open up. But we took the conservative approach and not let anyone in. We were typically selling through the door, so as not to, I guess, spread any of the virus. But it was during that time, we started rethinking, redoing the way we sold cigars. So I love researching the history of our industry. And if you looked at cigar shops in this country from like the 50s and beforehand, they used to be set up with the way our current operation is set up, where you had glass counters. So think of like a jewelry store setup. So we would have the cigars encased in these cases. It's all humidified, but people couldn't touch it. And, it served its, a few purposes, retooling that format and the way we sold cigars. Number one, it's a lot more hygienic, right? And you'd be surprised over the years, we would see people that just they weren't educated, didn't have the cigar knowledge or etiquette. And, they might take the cigar, like really be rough with it and put it back. I've even seen examples over the years of people literally taking a cigar from the shelf, putting it in their mouth, like testing it, and want to put it back if they didn't like it.
And you're like, hold on.
We said, no. You got to, because we're a little bit more active.
Right.
Some other shops in this country I've noticed, like especially during my days of selling to other shops around the country, they might take a hands-off approach and let the buyer kind of do his thing. I mean, people might have bought cigars that were touched or mishandled by previous consumers and didn't know it.
Right.
Right. So the way we set it up now prevents that. So we feel that our consumers can be rest assured that they'll buy a cigar that wasn't handled, mismanaged by so many previous hands. Right. So it's a lot more hygienic. Number two, it is hygienic. And we've also found that over the years, people might accidentally drop a cigar and bust it up. That stops that, right? So putting it in that display behind glass. And we also found it helped upsell cigars for us. So it forces a sales associate to hand sell each cigar and have an interaction with every consumer, talk about a particular brand that the consumer is looking at, engage the consumer more, ask more questions. And we found that it led to higher sales, higher turnover.
Well, and you can also have a component of education in there.
Yeah.
You can walk them through why it's set up the way it's set up, maybe not to touch the cigar, squeeze the cigar before purchasing it. And it gives you that self-care instruction that you're not getting whenever you're typically walking into a big open humidor with just cigars on boxes and you're just grabbing whatever ones you want.
That's right.
And I know I enjoy, like, typically, beforehand I was like smelling the cigar to get a good, get a good sniff of what the odor of it is.
Yeah.
And some people will do that probably before buying a cigar. They want to smell it. And it's like,
especially since post-COVID.
Right. Why don't I describe to you the profiles you're going to expect from the cigar before you grab it? And then by the time the consumer's ending up touching it, they're likely going to walk out the door with that cigar, as opposed to just grabbing it, squeezing it. This one feels a little hard. I'm going to put it back. And it's like, well, hold on.